There was once a warrior who rose before the sun. His armor was dented, his sword was dulled, and the reflection in the steel showed eyes he barely recognized. Once, those eyes had burned with fire. Once, he had carried himself with strength that made others follow. But now, the warrior saw only fatigue, hesitation, and a shadow of who he had been. This was not the result of one great defeat. It was not a single battle lost. No, it was the slow erosion of discipline, the quiet surrender of small choices day after day, until the man who once stood tall had become a stranger inside his own fortress. The warrior could walk away from the reflection, pretend not to notice, and continue to drift. Many do. But deep in his chest, something old stirred. A whisper, a challenge. You are not done. The fire can return. But you must fight again. And so, the warrior gripped the hilt of his blade and made a vow. I will not try to win forever. I will win today. The 5 battles. The warrior knew his fortress had 5 great halls, and each one had been neglected. If his fortress was to stand, he must fight 5 battles every day. Faith, family, fitness, finance, and future. The battle of faith. The foundation of every fortress is stone. Without it, the walls crumble when the storm comes. The warrior had allowed his foundation to weaken. He had filled his days with noise, with distractions, with endless chatter of the world. His spirit had been left unguarded. That morning, he entered the first hall, the Hall of Faith. He knelt on the cold stone floor, closed his eyes, and breathed. His prayer was not grand or poetic. It was raw. Give me strength to become who I was meant to be. Help me choose the fight when surrender feels easier. The warrior remembered ancient words. A house built on sand will fall when the storm arrives, but a house built on rock will endure. That day, he laid one stone on rock, a beginning. It was enough. The battle of family. The second hall was dark and cold. Family is the fire that warms the fortress, but the warrior's hearth had nearly gone out. For too long, he had returned from battle with nothing left to give. His loved ones had reached for him, but he had offered only silence or sharpness. That day, the warrior entered the Hall of Family. He looked into the eyes of his child and spoke words he had not spoken in too long. I am proud of you. I am here for you. I love you. The child's eyes softened, and for the first time in many moons, warmth flickered in the hall. A single flame was lit. The warrior understood that great fires are not built in a day, but one log at a time. That was his log. It was enough. The battle of fitness. The third hall was the workshop, the place where strength is forged. The warrior's armor had grown heavy, his body stiff. His sword arm no longer swung with ease. He had delayed his training again and again, whispering, tomorrow, tomorrow. But tomorrow never strengthens a man. That day, the warrior tied his boots and stepped outside the fortress. He moved his body through the fields, one step, then another. His lungs burned, his muscles argued, but he did not stop. It was not a march of glory, it was a march of beginning. Later, he dropped to the ground and pressed his body up against the earth 10 times. He did it again at night. The warrior knew he was not yet strong, but he also knew this. Discipline returns the moment you keep a promise to yourself, and he had kept one. It was enough. The battle of finance. The fourth hall was the ledger room where truth is recorded. The warrior had avoided it. He had spent his gold carelessly, seeking comfort, chasing status, buying what did not matter. And like cracks in the wall, his carelessness had spread. That day, he entered the ledger room with courage. He unrolled the scrolls and faced the numbers as they were, not as he wished them to be. He wrote down every coin earned and every coin lost. The truth did not flatter him, but it freed him. He patched one leak, canceling a foolish expense. He set aside a single coin for the future. It was not wealth, it was ownership. He whispered to himself, "A fortress with leaks will fall. Today I sealed one. It was enough." The battle of future. The fifth hall was the watchtower, where horizons are seen. For too long, the warrior had marched in circles, busy but directionless. Without a vision, even the strongest man becomes weary. That day, he climbed the tower and looked out. He asked himself one question: where am I going? He chose one goal, not 10, not 20, one. Then he wrote down a single action that would move him closer, even if by an inch. Like a farmer planting one seed, no one applauded. But the warrior smiled. For seasons are faithful. One seed today, another tomorrow, and one day a harvest will rise. It was enough. Resistance days turned into weeks. The warrior rose with the sun and fought the 5 battles. Small victories stacked into strength. His body grew sharper, his spirit steadier, his family warmer, his ledger cleaner, his horizon clearer. But the enemy does not surrender easily. One morning, the reflection in the steel mocked him. You will fail. You always return to weakness. You will never change. The warrior felt the weight of those words. He stumbled. He missed a day of training. He spoke in anger at the hearth. He spent foolishly. The stranger in the steel grinned, but the warrior remembered his vow. I do not need to win forever. I need only win today. The scoreboard resets at dawn. Yesterday's failure does not own today's fight. So he rose again. He prayed again. He hugged again. He trained again. He wrote in the ledger again. He planted again. That was enough. Transformation. Time did what time does when discipline leads it. The warrior's fortress grew stronger. The storm still came, but the foundation held. The hearth burned steady. His body became reliable once more. The leaks in the ledger slowed, then stopped. The field outside the watchtower began to show green. One night, the warrior stood in the hall of steel and looked into his reflection. The stranger was gone. The eyes staring back burned again. Not perfect, scarred, seasoned, real. The moral. And here is the truth of the parable. We are all warriors. We all face the stranger in the mirror. We all neglect the halls of our fortress at times. The battles are the same. Faith, family, fitness, finance, future. You do not need to win them forever. You need only win them today. So tomorrow when dawn arrives and your reflection asks the question, will you fight or will you surrender? Answer with action. Light the hearth, lay the stone, train the body, seal the leak, plant the seed, win the day. And when you win enough days, you win your life.